There. Off. It's me. Maybe the sound is working now. I hope so. Testing. Yeah. All right. I didn't realize I have to.
Me. Maybe the sound is working now. I hope so.
I have to add myself to the stage to make things happen, which is awful. Anyway, not presentable today. So, boom, I'm gone. Thank you all for coming. Yeah. The markets, as Cardio said, they're wrecking everybody's head. Thank you all for coming. It's one of those weeks where we all got hit, and there's no doubt about that. This was pretty historic. But what I will talk about today is what is going risk off. We've been waiting for a long time for certain things like Bitcoin and crypto to go risk off. And there we are. We may have that result already. Let's jump into the story, not financial advice. Thank you to everybody on Patreon. First of all, fear and greed is at 25 for crypto. It was at 44 a few days ago. So it's come down a bit, but it's nowhere near the 10s or 20s we've seen over the past couple of weeks. And maybe we are decoupling, yes. But the stock market fear and greed is at 4. That's a historic low, everybody. Stock market people are freaking out, and that's reflected in the results. And yes, all this tariff stuff, and we keep talking about tariffs because that's what's driving the market down, is incredible. But I do have some bright signs, which are very, very interesting. First of all, this is crypto versus the Mag 7 today. You can see Bitcoin up. In fact, Bitcoin's 84,500 now. It's gone up another $700 since I took this. But if you look at the Mag 7, smashed across the board, really nasty out there. Volatility up another 50% on the VIX. Solana up 6% today. MicroStrategy up 4% today. And Bitcoin up over 1%. So all of a sudden, crypto is rocking and big tech is getting hammered. S&P 500 is getting hammered. Markets across the board are getting hammered. Really crazy times. Anyway, let's talk about some crypto news first and then get into exactly what's happening, because there is some good news that we see on the horizon. First of all, Bitcoin's hash rate is a new record high once again. This is going to make life for the miners even harder, I'm afraid. And SEC continues to work wonders. The new regime in charge of the Security and Exchange Commission all of a sudden come out and declare covered stablecoins like Tether and USDC are not securities. No registration needed for minting or redeeming. What this basically means in simple text is the banks are coming. The banks want in on the stablecoin action. That is the beginning of the digitization of the whole world. And then following that will be the tokenization of everything in time for the AI revolution. Everything is happening fast, ladies and gentlemen. But the other things that are happening fast is risk is happening fast and markets are getting crushed. Here, Binance and Circle, from Jeremy Allaire, it was a very interesting one because we've been talking a lot about stable coins and how important they are, especially to support the dollar, and how the new US government is embracing crypto and stable coins. But from Jeremy here, he said, Binance has quietly built a financial super app with 250 million users, and they are now, Circle is partnering with Binance on a thing called Binance Pay, their P2P merchant payment solution, with over 40 million monthly active users. This is great news for both Binance, great news for Circle, and great news for the dollar stablecoin. Moto, thank you so much for coming. Now, we got to talk about the markets before we get back to crypto and other things. You think you have it bad here? Some markets fell as much as 7% in a day. Vietnam got hammered. South Africa got hammered. 17 European markets hit hard all across the board. Pakistan, for some strange reason, is unaffected, probably because there's no trade between the US and Pakistan, or very little that I know of, or maybe no tariffs. I'm not sure. But it was very interesting to see this, especially that outlier there, Vietnam, stock market falling 7% in a day after falling another 6% the day before. Absolutely violent moves across the board. But what's happening exactly right now? First of all, Dan Ives is not happy. He calls this a self-inflicted economic Armageddon. Remember, everybody, the mission behind all of this tariff negotiation is to make things fair. And again, as I said before, you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. We're in the egg breaking process right now. The omelet is not cooked yet, but there are signs good things are happening. And Dan Ives has been very anti all of this tariff stuff. A lot of people are too. But when you break it down and you dig into it, it's important that countries treat each other fairly in a reciprocal manner. That was not happening in the past. But boy, is that beginning to happen today. Let's get into some of the changes. First of all, reciprocal tariffs are now in the United States at 1930 levels. They've never been so high. The average US tariff, again, exceeding 20 to 23%, on average 25%. This is, yes, it's funny. Bill Wammers says Dan Ives is just a chaser. Sometimes the guys that manage money, it makes them look bad. They can't suffer bad quarterly reports. It makes them look bad, like they don't know how to manage money. But for us retail investors, we can weather a 12-week storm, no problem. In fact, we use it as a stacking opportunity. Anyway, U.S. tariffs, record highs. Now, Jeff Lutz, again, our tariff guru of the day and yesterday too. Basically, the question is, are tariffs working? And to the many investors coming into the United States and investing massive amounts of money, my policies will never change. This is a great time to get rich, richer than ever before. That is from the US president out there. His name will not be mentioned for obvious reasons. Anyhow, it causes some derangement sometimes with people. But the point is, it's beginning to work. Let me show you how all of this negotiation is beginning to work. Yes, the markets have been hit. Yes, it's been a good buying opportunity. Yes, it's been worse than people expected. But look at this. We now have the first zero tariff country in partnership with the United States, Argentina and the United States. That means they'll put no tariffs in any trade they do with each other. And this is the beginning of a trend. This is how it's working. And look, more knees bend. Vietnam yesterday had 90% tariff on American goods. Today, guess what? It's zero. That means Nike will now survive because Nike has 530,000 factory workers in Vietnam that make shoes for the planet. And all of a sudden, this is how it works. Again, everything changes for a reason. Dogwan, thank you. So you begin to see now Argentina, zero tariffs. Vietnam, zero tariffs. It's working, and it takes time for this to trickle through, but it's beginning to happen. Now, one of the most important trade partners after a place like Canada, etc. Shout out to our friends in Canada, but China, per zero hedge, has three options. One, concede defeat, bend the knee, and meet the terms that the US wants. Or two, devalue the yuan by 20 to 40%. That's not good for the people in China at all. Or number three, unleash the biggest fiscal stimulus in its history, talking 2 to 3 trillion. By the way, they've already done many, many hundreds of billions in the last 3 to 6 months, which will push its debt off the chart. I don't know if China really cares out there very much, but the point is, it's crazy. Money printing will happen. I think it'll be a combination. There will be some concessions made between the two countries. The US president needs to talk to President Xi, and they need to figure some stuff out and make it happen, make it work, but make it fair. And that's all that the US is looking for. So we're beginning to see some good progress made here. And other things that are happening behind the scenes, which are very good for our risk assets, is rate expectations. These are kind of like expectations forecast from the Fed meeting. But remember I said I'm pretty sure we get 3 more rate cuts this year. Well, it looks like it could be 4 rate cuts. 100 basis points is the new forecast. And this is truly wonderful for everybody. Thank you, Charles. People with mortgages, people with car loans, people needing to borrow money. Everybody knows rates need to come down to control inflation, to grease the wheels of the economy, etc. So that's really going to be a very good thing. And that is by December of this year, which is another 9 months or less. Anyway, we also had more good news last night. The 10-year Treasury yield fell below 4% for the first time since October. Oftentimes, things like long-term mortgage rates are tied to the 10-year. So that means mortgage rates will drop they're already probably beginning to drop probably towards 6.4, 6.5%, down from 7.1% a week ago. And again, this will help the real estate industry and all the people that work in that whole space. In addition, there's other interesting news. Again, this is a Friday Fire. We talk about all the fire stuff that's happening. Breaking news, Tesla launched its FSD Supervised early access program in the US. I was an FSD beta user years ago, and here we are again. There's a new, they call it Supervised, but I see it as FSD Supervised Unsupervised. I think, I could be wrong, but it's something big that they're doing with only the best previous beta users. They will be testing something that probably is a precursor to the Robotaxi event in June, and it will be the first form of unsupervised launching in cars. It might even be an initial form of kind of a lightweight Robotaxi offering. I'm not sure, but either way, it will be their best yet ever. So something big is happening. And Sean Yates, yeah, Tesla's nice and cheap. Remember, 8 weeks ago, 9 weeks ago, we said $495. So we'll see. Yeah, and there's still a lot of FSD haters out there, like 7, LOL, 5+ years of FSD BS. I don't drive anymore. I haven't driven since October, November of last year. My car takes me everywhere. And we're talking 200-mile stretches in the dark at night in all sorts of weather conditions. FSD is unbelievable. And 97420 Empire probably doesn't have a Tesla with AI4 and FSD. Typical of people who criticize it don't actually have it. Anybody who has it is mind blown. And that's just a fact of life. Anyway, I'm not here to convince anybody to do anything. I'm just sharing the news. And other news, too, there was so much fear about Tesla and Tesla being completely oversold again today. A big dip right down to 240. And everybody believes they're being impacted by tariffs, but it's also other stuff, too. But the fact of the matter is Tesla's localization rate of 95% in China and more than 95% in Germany and the US is record-breaking, not just for automakers, but also for any consumer electronic that's out there. So it is not going to be hit by tariffs. And I think that was the master plan of Tesla years ago, to localize everything as well, not only for speed and just-in-time inventory management, but also operational effectiveness and efficiency and costs, and to be sheltered from these types of tariff scares. And final little quick story is AI. We talk a lot about AI and how everybody should be prepared for what is coming, but this is pretty startling. And I'm going to take a few minutes on this one because it deserves the time. And we say, things are going to change pretty quick out there and the world is not ready. But here, this is from AI 2027, a bunch of PhD people that forecast the growth rates of AI and capability. And this represents the rate of progress, the upline of AI research and development. The scale is exponential. The milestones, let's cover a few of the milestones here that you can see. First of all, in 2027, early 2027, notice how much of this actually it could be 2026, which is next year, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to have things called AI R&D Multiplier, which is called 4x. And then there'll be things called superhuman coders. That means AI will have the capability of surpassing human coding abilities. All of them. Okay, AI will be a superhuman coder. And that's coming next year, late next year. Then after that, you have the 100x AI R&D multiplier. And that's what they call the superhuman remote worker. And AI will be capable of performing remote work tasks at a level 100x what humans can do. Again, 2027, this is happening. And then you have the AI research and development multiplier, which is ASI. That's called artificial superintelligence. And that ASI is when AI exceeds all human intelligence across all domains. So if this chart doesn't alarm you, I don't know what will. I really don't. It alarms me. It's coming fast, and 2027, late 2026 is not that far away. But they can tell this just from the rate of change. Remember, everything in life, it's all about rate of change, and you need to prepare yourselves to be ready for when this happens and position yourselves to take advantage of it. And finally, meme du jour, Tesla Q1 numbers. I thought this was a funny one. To end on a positive note, Q1 delivery numbers are basically irrelevant because I'm coming to mow your lawn. Word is the Tesla Optimus bot, they've been doing an awful lot with it, but they're keeping it very much under wraps because they don't want the Chinese and other players watching exactly what they're doing. But a legion of these are coming this year. In the next 6 months, 5,000 of them will be running around, and next year, 50,000 of them. And what happens when these 50,000 puppies have this level of smarts in their head through Grok and XAI, and also are wired to the biggest repository of knowledge on the planet, that is X, which is formerly Twitter. Crazy world ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Want to thank you all for coming. Yeah, everybody wants one of these bots. I know I do. I'll show the bot again for swiper, no swiping. Who wants one of these to mow your lawn, clean your kitchen, wash your car, guard your house? I think that'll be a very important use case, will be security monitoring. Anyway, don't dare to disagree. Anybody can disagree. Exactly. GFYM. Everything will be reverse engineered. Everything will be coded. And I'm here to help everybody get prepared. Thank you, T&D Tesla. And thank you, Sean Donnelly and Kate and everybody else. Enjoy the show. Hope you enjoy the show. Have a good night. Bye-bye.